Good morning. Remember my friend? He's one of my favorite images. It's not specifically, this particular image, but the motif. The laughing Buddha. You know, he shines from his face. I don't know. Maybe I like him because he's middle aged and chubby, and maybe it makes me feel good because of that. I'm not sure. But he is a wonderful thing, and he's a wonderful image. And I'd like to just really touch base again with you about why he is so wonderful. It really relates to those elements that we've talked about, in the past. This idea of having a joy that's not dampened by circumstance. It's what he has is the ability to radiate and shine that joy into the world. It's not that he's not aware of the negative things that are happening with people who are suffering. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Because of those things, he knows that he has to access joy to help shift those other areas. He also represents a clue for us about practice in our own individual lives. I was talking about the candle. The candle it just burns so steady. That regardless of what kind of chaos is going on, it just continues to burn steady as so it's in complete and utter stillness. And so the reason why he's a great clue for us is because he teaches us how we can be in the world. So how does that work? How can you still continue to shine joy when there's so much conflict? How can you shine joy when there are people who are suffering and having such a difficult time? It's not about not having compassion, but what it is recognizing the relationship between balancing the inner and the outer world. When the outer world is so unbelievably attractive that you just can't get your mind off of it. When the outer world keeps selling you a bill of goods and you keep buying them, even though it has never worked before, thinking that a relationship is going to make you happy, or sex, or money, or whatever it might be. When we have such a huge element going around in the world, it's easy to understand or easy to see how people get so absorbed. I think it's just as an example, there was the ancient city-state of Carthage, and they were in this incredible long-term war with ancient Rome, and they were the two dominant powers, and they were really vying for who was going to be the dominant world power of the time. It wasn't like Rome was just definitely going to happen, So Carthage had the general Hannibal, which you probably know is the story about him bringing the elephants through the mountains and surprising the Romans. He almost defeated Rome, but eventually he was defeated, and Rome went and came, and they got to Carthage. Now, Carthage was an amazing city. Please check out the ancient, architecture of that city. They burned it to the ground. They salted it. They made sure that Carthage was never going to come back. Now, Carthage lasted for 700 years. That's how long it was. Now, if you can imagine being someone who lived in that society that had been a culture that had gone on for 700 years, you would have thought it would go on forever. But that's not the way life often works. So, what I'm saying is that if you are that person and you're living in that time, or you're living in troubled times of any time, including this one, we have to continue to work to keep the values of kindness alive. So balancing the inner and the outer world, when you find those things, that are so unbelievably disturbing, or when you have contact with people who are so dedicated to negativity and to destruction, that they just seem like they're willing to wipe out everything, even if it means that they too are destroyed. So what we do is we find that relationship between the inner and the outer world, and we make sure that as much as we see out there, we equal that much commitment in going into the inner world. As much as we see people dedicated to hatred, that is how dedicated we must be to activating that balancing in the inner world, learning how to pay attention to subtlety. And so what happens is that when the inner and the outer world are balanced, that's when that candle becomes clear. It's always there, but it burns steady, and we begin to connect with it. So we begin to live from that steady state candle. So let's do just a very, very quick guided meditation, and then let's go on to enjoy this wonderful spring day. So I would ask you now just to sit up tall. If you're sitting in a chair or sitting on a zafu, a meditation cushion, just sit up tall and give yourself a moment just to breathe and access your intention. Just breathe, tapping into intention. Now remember the power of the jaws. So let's focus on relaxing the jaws first. Relax the jaws. Now try relaxing the jaws with the mouth open. Just relax the jaws. Breathing, relax the jaws. Take a nice breath in. And a big yawn. That was nice. The chest is up. And right after the yawn, just pay attention. Breathing nice and easily. And understand that part of what a yawn does is it creates an invitation for the jaws to relax. We stretch the jaw muscles, help to open them up, and now relax. And remember the relationship between relaxing the jaws and the hands. When you have clenched jaws, you tend to have clenched fists, so that the hands soften. Remember that the clenching of the jaws is also relating to the closedness of the heart. So as we relax the jaws, feel the heart opening. Just breathe. Be patient. When the heart opens, our compassion, our love, our hopefulness and joy shine into the world. Just feel it. Heart open, shining out. Jaws relax, relaxing the center of the forehead, sitting up tall, and just breathe slowly and easily. And now, let's begin to visualize the candle that we discussed before. In your mind's eye, just imagine a candle burning, a steady state candle. It's burning. The flame is so stable that it almost looks like a solid thing. Just breathing. In your mind's eye, just observe the candle, breathing slowly and easily. See the light shining from the candle and illuminating all around it. It's almost like a golden halo. Just be aware. Breathing slowly and easily. Now, as you observe that steady burning of the candle, just understand that as you observe it, as you give your attention fully to it, that your emotions begin to calm in relationship to that steady burning candle. Just feel it. The emotions calming. Suddenly we become that candle ourselves. We are that steady state. Just breathe into it. Now, this light comes with us wherever we go. We light the world with this candle. Just breathe. That steady, stable burning. Let's take a nice breath in. And an easy sigh. The breathing come back to normal, eyes opening. And of course, we always say this, right after a practice, that's the time to notice how it went for you. How did that feel? So just be aware of it. Be aware of it. So today, let's be aware of that steady state, that calm. Let's be aware of balancing the inner and the outer world, and understand that we can be that candle that doesn't fluctuate in the midst of chaos. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Remember the depth today, not just the length of time, but the depth, and do that candle exercise occasionally. Remember the candle. Listen carefully. we are on the 28th day of our 40-day practice. It's going quickly. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to get together like this. I'm going to bring my hands in a prayer position, and I bow to you and all those you love. And I bow to that balance point within you between the inner and the outer world. Namaste.